Jump right into a game. We were planning on casting TT Esports pencils, but we just found out that got delayed. Instead, we're going to jump into the trademark and the Fire Rises series. Of course, the Fire Rises, this new team with Insania and whatnot. Anyways, let's jump in. Let's take a look. Game number 1 has actually already started. There you go. So again, here we are in game number 1. So love the quick introduction there, but obviously a little bit of a change of plans. But anyways, we got a match. That's what matters. And I think it's safe to say a lot of people are really intrigued to kind of see what happens here at Ralph, specifically with TFR and this new roster here.
Absolutely. Let's just quickly go over that. Actually, we might see some action mid. Luna's actually going to get caught right here. There's a haste run on Engineer. The Kegstun does hit. The turret's a little bit off the mark, but still doing some damage. One more auto tag. One more auto tag is needed. He might actually be in a lot of trouble. Kabab does dodge the power throw right there, but he actually gets his health potion taken off right there with a haste rune. So lots of aggression early on here in this mid lane. This is a Luna and Magnus here in the mid versus Deadwood Engineer. So some interesting lane compositions already. But yeah, I think a lot of people are excited to see what TFR can do.
Yeah, again, so kind of breaking it down. Obviously, we were a little bit of a panic, quick mode here with jumping right into the game and action coming up. But as things are calming down a little bit, all right, so let's break things down. First off, welcome to today. This is day number 1 here of Cycle 5, of course, for HoN Tour, the Diamond Division. And this is, of course, the round of 16. The very first round, so we have Trademark Esports of number 1 seed, obviously. But they're going up against TFR. TFR, known as the Fire Rises. Now, if you didn't happen to tune into our podcast yesterday, or really haven't been following the news, this is basically a new lineup here. Insania, Sham, Skyzo, LesQQ, and Kebab. Of course, is their 5-man lineup. Now, the interesting thing to note about these guys is the reason why they're actually in the Diamond Division is because they were actually given Domain of Pain's spot because with Domain of Pain actually disbanding, basically. So they got Domain of Pain's spot. Now, they were cut a lot of points, actually, as far as, with it happening. But they are in the Diamond Division. Yes, we do see the middle lane action, though. Engineer will fall right there. So Bloodlust kill coming out in favor of tdM. Will it be at cost of Limp's life, though? It doesn't look like it. Going to be fine. Anyway, so that's just a quick breakdown. We'll get into more of it once we get into the next game, most likely. But anyway, so there you go. Kind of a quick breakdown, but we got a great matchup here, and obviously already a Bloodlust kill, though, coming out for Trademark Esports. Yeah,
some early roam from Ophelia through the mid lane, caught Engineer out there. The top rune is being guarded, so his bottom rune does spawn bottom, and it's going to be your regen there. So yeah, Insania playing that jungle role, as we were wondering what the role assignments were going to be for this new, this fresh team.
Yeah.
And so right now it does look like Insania is playing the jungle. We have Shams playing their hard carry role as Silhouette. LesQQ playing that initiator as he plays so well. Kebab playing the hard support, and then Skyzo actually taking on the suicide role, a role that he actually played a lot when he was formerly of Lions a long time ago when they actually won the North American Star League Season 2. So, yeah, some interesting things all around. I want to check out some lanes here as far as CS goes. Actually, some more action mid as he goes on to Engineer. Engineer uses a defensive turret actually onto a Luna, and Magnus will be fine. Actually, everyone will be fine there. As far as CS goes, Zai 18-14 compared to a 14-3 Silhouette solo in her short lane. So Sham's not doing too well up here, honestly, in the top lane solo versus the Plague. Now, Plague can hold her own in this lane, but I do give an edge just a little bit because Silhouette's in her short lane, has assistance from Tempest if he needs it, and actually Tempest might look to gank right now.
Yeah, here we go. Level 6 Tempest incoming, has that Ring of Sorcery. Plague on it. This should be kill. In fact, he's just going to go straight for the ultimate right here. Doesn't want to take any risks with a stun. The Plague is going to be used. So you see the quick spread coming out, and it will not bounce anymore as a result, and that will set up a kill for actually Insania playing that Tempest. So actually interesting choice. Now, he only has the level 2 stun. He doesn't have the level 3, so maybe that was a difference maker there as to why he just ulted right away.
Level 2 to 3 really doesn't do anything. It just adds a little bit of damage, but it doesn't add an extra stun. And the ultimate just it locks down for longer.
Yeah.
It's more secure. You can cast your spells in between the stuns if you're very quick. Also, Shams didn't use his tree grapple. Like he used it and then he didn't use it again to stun them a second time. So actually, Engineer a little bit of trouble. More auto-attacking Engineer will fall. Magnus is trying to do some juke and jiving. Here comes Bubbles though. He's level 6 and he will get a kill onto Limp. So a counter kill there onto Limp. I definitely think that's worth it.
Yeah, very good assistance from Skyzo. Talk about perfect timing on his part, happening to be roaming on by. I think he was actually going for the bottom room, which is going to be able to pick up right here. Actually, no, maybe just protect it, but it happens to be Haste Drew. But yeah, just perfect timing, ends up getting the counter kill into Magnus, and you can safely say, actually, that works out better for the Hellborn team as a result. So again, this Hellborn team here, TFR, you already brought up some names, and as we talked about it yesterday in the podcast once again, I find it interesting how this team, in a sense, it's a case of players that were a lot of the chat was using the term leftovers. I hate, obviously that's kind of a rude way to put it, though. But these are all very skilled individuals. In a sense, though, they were sixth mans. They were cut from their teams. You got Insania cut from tdM, who obviously they're playing here. Shams was always the sixth man for Complexity. Skyzo, of course, cut by Stay Green. Les QQ, again, kind of that new fifth that we thought, but that didn't work out for Complexity. And then you got Kabop, actually, who's been out of the HoN scene for a while. I know he had his dabble in Dota 2 for a little bit. But apparently making his return to HoN here with TFR. So it's good to see him back, of course, in the HoN scene. So that's kind of a quick breakdown of, what we're dealing with here on this TFR side. Pretty amusing, but at the same time, a lot of skilled individuals. So they are going up against Trademark Esports, though, and obviously, right now, the best of the best.
Yeah, and again, I still want to look at some lanes, specifically these outer lanes. Bubbles versus Draconis solo for a long time. I don't think Ophelia did any roaming. The only roaming she did was in mid. And I'm actually surprised just a little bit that Bubbles CS isn't just a little bit better. Yeah, Draconis has a better time, and easier time. Some action yet again in mid. The punch coming out onto Magnus. Magnus will fall. Hastrun on Deadwood. He's pursuing a Luna, trying to get the kill. He's not going to get it. He's just putting some auto attacks into him. Bubbles, in the meantime, trying to defend bottom for the time being, but I feel like Bubbles CS should be a little higher. At the same time, I feel like Silhouette should be a lot higher. Yeah. Sitting at 24 and 6 compared to a Plague who's 28 and nearly 20.
Ooh, poor coming in. Kelfo going to be using the Draconis right there. Tempest is coming in. Doesn't have the ultimate just yet, but will it matter? Probably not. Even the Rotten Crasp coming out, not even necessary. That haste turn is still on Deadwood, actually. Yeah. And finally, it wears off right there. But, I mean, that goes back to Skyzo protecting that haste turn bottom, where he protected it for Deadwood. He eventually bought it up. Basically, obviously set up the first kill, and it helped him assist in the bottom lane for the second kill. So it kind of shows you how important things like that are, when they add up. Again, very good support. But yeah, so you're bringing up some good points right there. With the lack of CS, perhaps not as high as you may like to see. Again, with that said, this TFR, all skilled individuals, they're coming together, a completely new team here. I mean, this is their debut, their competitive debut at least. I'm sure they've been scrimmaging a little bit and whatnot, but this is their competitive debut. Happens to be on HoNcast all of a sudden. They're facing the #1 team in the world right now. Clearly, pressure has to be on them as far as making some big plays. But honestly, here they are against tdM now. 9 minutes into the game, they have a 4-2 hero kill lead, and actually, they're going to push this bottom tower as well. So things seem to be starting off fairly well, at least for TFR.
Yeah, and Limp got cut out twice, unfortunately. They're pushing mid, and the kelp field is a very, very good tool, for overextending. People that overextend, you use a kelp field. Wow, mass TPs in mid. Magma stuns in. What can they make of this?
Well, probably at least one kill on a Luna, I would hope so. Yes, it is going to kill Luna. Plague is coming out, but it doesn't bounce anymore. Deadwood will absorb the damage. Tempest ultimate is up. He's going to be stunned by Magnus right there, but can Tempest going to get placement? You see the Legion team, they are spreading. They know it's up, and as a result, Tempest will not go in. Now he's turning around, but again, they're somewhat clumped up. Need to be careful right here. The Tempest ultimate! Draconis nearly runs into it. No, but the Dragon Flame comes out, and he will end up dying, that being Tempest. So actually, pretty solid attempt there from Insania. He nearly got 0-4, but Draconis was just out of range, and Noob G able to stop it right there.
That was still so silly. Like, you have no mana on your bubbles. You use the spells. The engineer uses spells. No mana. Like, who's going to follow up on that? They're all running away. You're going to die. Just accept it and go kill yourself. Oh, God, that's going to be a quote.
Oh, my God. That was just so rude, Trell.
I'm just saying, like, don't waste your big spells if you know you're going to die.
Yeah, no.
And then no one can follow up. Like, cool, fancy. You got 4 people in your ultimate. Doesn't freaking matter.
Yeah.
So,
that's true.
Yeah, that was kind of a silly decision by him.
Now,
because he could respawn right now, go into the next team fight thinking, all right, I got my ult, I'm ready to use it, I want to kill, get a solo kill at least. Well, no, he can't do that. He's going to have to go back to farming, and yeah, kind of sucks for him, but...
Now, despite that death, he actually still has been up there with the top in the game as far, especially on his team. Yeah. He has been farming very well, has Insania. So you see right now about 326 gold per minute, but clearly slowing down. But and again, this obviously we jumped into this game right as this started due to us another game that we're planning on covering getting rescheduled, the TD Sports Pencil series. But we haven't even really broken down, honestly, the hero lineups. I mean, we talked about the lanes a little bit, but so just real quickly, you got Trademark Esports over here. They got Draconis, Ophelia, Magnus, Aluna, and Plague Rider. And then on TFR side, you're dealing with Tempest, Silhouette, Deadwood, Bubbles, and Engineer, actually. So it seems like both teams definitely got some solid lineups here.
Yeah.
Going with that Deadwood pick. You know, SG is known for running that Deadwood. Not really many others, though, but trying it out here for them.
I love Deadwood. I've always been a fan of Deadwood. I think he's very strong. I've liked him for a long time. There's nothing wrong with that. The punch is so amazing. It just does so much damage, specifically to a hero like Magnus that can disjoint things very, very quickly, but that punch is, relatively fast animation and can catch people off guard and just do massive damage. And Magnus already has relatively low armor, too, for a strength hero. So, yeah, I love Deadwood. I'm still very concerned that Silhouette CS is so low. She's now gone into the jungle, which I think needs to happen. Deadwood might be in a little bit of trouble, actually. No, he'll be fine for now. But yeah, her CS is definitely pretty low. Like in the short lane, at 12 minutes, 42 CS, and a lot of these recently have been from neutral creeps against a Plague Rider. I just feel like it should be much higher than this.
Ooh, and he accidentally, I don't know if that ward blocks that camp right there, but he stepped into it, maybe trying to pull it, but I think he might have blocked it.
I think it was Shams himself.
So, yeah, not making the biggest of plays, unfortunately, for TFR's sake here early on, but hopefully for their sake, again, they can improve. Meanwhile, we did see the Plague is going off right there. It is going to bounce around a little bit. The kill foot already locked and Plague in place. He's trying to get a counter kill. Not going to happen, though. Insania finally comes in and helps guarantee the kill without anyone dying. So, good attempt from Zai right there to make some turnaround happen, but just too much pressure put out. And now look at this. All 5 players of TFR are going to group up here, and they are just going to mass push this top tower. This will be a tower kill. No doubt. tdM is not going to defend this. In the meantime, though, triple Minotaur army from Ophelia going to push this bottom lane with the Luna's assistance, actually. So.
Yeah, and I find it kind of interesting that Bubbles doesn't have a point and take cover yet at all.
Oh wow!
It's a very risky move. It has high reward. Like you do lots of damage. The silences for a decent duration, but it is a little bit risky against heroes that you can dodge quite easily. With like the Magnus stun if you time it correctly. Plague Rider spells are so easy to dodge with a take cover. Oh, here comes Deadwood. He's in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, Deadwood is in a lot of trouble. A lot of the ports coming in right there. He does have that Falcon punch to use it, extended up. In fact, he uses it right there to Limbo falls around. That Tempest ultimate. Ophelia trying to stop it right there, but she's not going to be able to. And look at Silhouette using that Death Lotus. Plague Rider will fall, as well as Magnus on top of the Draconis. So Luna trying to run away with Ophelia. They will be fine. Silhouette diving a little bit too much, perhaps. But now she's going to fall back, and she will survive. So that ended up working out pretty well for TFR. Great Tempest ultimate again right there, coming out from Insania. And again, you look at the big picture right now. Honestly, TFR is in a pretty solid spot, despite Silhouette lack of creep farm. As far as the CS goes, she has now surpassed that 310 goal per minute. She is now 1-0-4. Obviously, that's helping big time. And looking pretty good. And just as a team, things are coming together pretty nicely here, seems like.
She's still just a bit under on the GPM as far as, you compare him to Draconis.
Yeah.
Because Draconis has a lot more CS at this point, but Draconis has died twice. So it's kind of even. Actually, it's dead even right now. 320 goal per minute for both. And yeah, Blink now actually on the Tempest, so relatively fast Blink. He also has the Steam Boots up, so that's good for him. Also, the Tempest ultimate was fantastic because it pulled them into the Engineer ultimate that was down. So talk about a combination that happened to work out right there. And I was going to say, did he have a full completed null stone? My God.
Not yet.
But no, he's still got to buy some more items.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Engineer ult, man, it just does so much work.
Yeah, the synergy's definitely here. I mean, the Engineer, you got the Tempest, you got the Bubbles on top of that, obviously. The synergy is most certainly there. So let's kick you on Deadwood. How is he doing, by the way? He is 0-2-5, actually. So, he's being involved, happening not to get any of the kills, actually, though. And his farm, it is struggling. He is under 200 gold per minute right now. He's even trying to finish his Ghost Marcher still, as he has the bottle and power supply. So don't expect a portal key on Deadwood here in the near future, at least, unfortunately, for the Hellborn team. As far as the Legion side goes, and their positives, look at Draconis. Uh-oh, this is going to be, did they triple stack it? No, they tried to triple stack it right there, but something was blocking it. So in the end, they're just going to go with the double stack, actually. And Draconis will ideally take most of the farm out. Actually, Ophelia's taken a good amount of that, to be honest. A little bit surprised at that, but Draconis will get a couple in there, and he's getting closer to his nullstone now, of course, as is Silhouette. So action perhaps in the middle lane setting up, though. Look at tdM. They're all grouping up, and they are going to push right here. So we'll see perhaps a big fight coming up, Trough.
Yeah. We have no Blink yet on Magnus. They just want to force the issue. They have a strong pushing team as well with Ophelia. Now double heal, as I like to call it, with the Astrolabe and the Ophelia's touch. They got to be careful, though. It's very risky when you're about even as far as the teams go, when you're being the aggressive one, when you're pushing. When it's like, yeah, they have some good push, but it's not like a push team. It's not like your Balfagor Keeper, Polywog, Demented Shaman push. It's not like that. Normally with quote-unquote, like, push strats, it usually has a healer involved. And yes, you do have Ophelia, but usually has a number of healers plus a huge tank.
The spammable healers.
They have a healer, but they don't really have a huge tank, at least right now. It's basically that's Magnus, but that's not your tank, man. You got to initiate with that hero.
Yeah. I mean, I assume they were to take advantage of the timing of the Tempest Ultimate still being down, but in the end, it's again, they didn't want to force the issue at the same time.
Right.
And they weren't able to get it, not the biggest deal in the world. They'll fall back to the deny at the top tower. Granted, that is a secondary tower, so 16.5 minutes in, you do see the top secondary tower actually already going down in TFR's favor, despite it being denied right there, so... that's some good news for them. But yeah, Draconis is getting closer and closer to that early on Nullstone as always. Looking to finish off the Blessed Orb and then the pattern after that. Magnus, the portal key is coming though. As you mentioned, 1650 gold saved up currently and counting. Here for Limp playing the Magnus, who's currently farming around 290 gold per minute. Mid-tower push though, but I believe tdM may be here to defend it. Not the biggest of push coming out from TFR. In fact, they're just going to leave the Elementals there and be fine with tdM putting up the resistance. So. Again, Insania, the fact that he's going up against a team that, in a sense, cut him here against Trademark Esports. Now, it's not the first time, obviously. He was playing for Stay Green last cycle, at least in the earlier rounds, and did get the chance to play against them. So, but you know, it's again, you always gotta think there's that chip on his shoulder still, and he is playing very well here. He plays this jungle role very well.
Yeah, he does. And I was wondering before when I used to see him on Tempest that he would start out really, really fast. Like, actually, speaking of him, he's actually in a lot of trouble. Oh, no, he's not able to use the blink. There comes the combination. Even the ulti coming out from Magnus. And that is one dead Insania. They clean up all the creeps as well. Here comes Bubbles trying to get something, but just a creep maybe. But the Fury ult comes there to heal all of them. So, good exchange right there for tdM.
It's the karma, man. Sitting there talking positive about Insania, and a couple seconds later, he gets ganked. Go figure. So, sorry, Insania, that was my fault. I'll take the blame for that one. Yeah, but also with that said, Magnus assisting with the kill right there, he actually does pick up his portal key himself. So now they have that threat. Again, they got the Nullstone coming up very quickly here on Draconis. But obviously, with the Draconis on your team, is it safe to say that you don't need to necessarily push any issues here as far as pushing? I mean, you can definitely play a farming game here.
I don't know, because I feel like the team that Hellborn has is pretty strong in late game. Like, Engineer scales well. Deadwood actually scales pretty well, too, because of his ultimate. It gives the minus 20% total strength, which is nice. Bubbles is great from start to finish. Silhouette, very, very strong in late game. So is Tempest. So you have a lot of different heroes that are strong at late game. When you look at tdM as far as their lineup goes, Ophelia, she's not the greatest in late game, to be honest. She's okay in the early to mid game. She can be effective in the late game with pushing and heals and support, but it's not the best. Aluna, again, not the best. Plague Rider, the ult will start to lose effectiveness in the late stage of the game. Magnus is okay from start to finish, and Draconis is as well. So I do feel like the late game strength is there for TFR. But yeah, I wouldn't say that tdM is in a hurry, but I would say once they get their core items that they will be the ones that need to make a move.
Yeah. So again, the Nullstone is actually, he has enough gold for it now on Draconis. Maybe wanting to finish the Shrunken Head even though before they really start to get aggressive here. But for now, I mean, this definitely has been a fairly action-packed game here. We're looking at a 9-6 hero kill lead, still in favor of TFR actually, and the stats are actually still in their favor as well. I mean, the gold is pretty much identical at this point, but about a 2,200 experience lead right now. Looking good for the Hellborn team. In fact, a portal key now just picked up on Skyzo. I know you were mentioning earlier Skyzo's creep farm might not have been the most impressive, but he is 3-0-1 now. He is farming 270 gold per minute, and he actually, again, the portal key picked up to go with the Steam Boots and the build-up items. So that's some more good. And on top of that, he's level 11, actually. So, again, things are coming together very nicely here for both teams, but definitely looking impressive here on TFR's side. So I keep looking back at the Silhouette as well. She is actually getting close now to picking up the pattern to finish her own Nullstone, just like Draconis did. And in fact, they're neck to neck, really, when it comes to their GPMs. Yeah,
she just doesn't have it yet because she has the power supply and investments as build-up items, whereas Draconis just has the Ring of the Teacher. So, yeah, she's getting very, very close, and they are neck and neck. And having Bubbles with a portal key is especially effective against Magnus.
Yeah.
I remember a long time ago playing for SK when we saw Magnus picked up so much in those tri-lanes. Like your Magnus, Valkyrie, Glacius tri-lane. It was so common. And Bubbles would be Suicide or Solo. And Bubbles was picked up all the time specifically for Magnus because that silence is really, really strong. Magmai, I'll say, usually never go for a Shrunken Head. And if they do, it's very, very late. So having the bubbles be able to jump in there in silence, there's no way you can deal with that as a Magnus. So bubbles with port key, fantastic.
Yeah, that's big news for the Hellborn team again. But top tower going down in favor of Trademark Esports. A good push coming out from them. They're going to start TPing down at the bottom lane, it looks like, as they may have figured TFR was going to continue pushing. They seem a little bit undecided. A couple of players were still pushing, a couple are porting out. So it looks like TFR in the end, they're going to port out. In fact, they're going top lane. There's still some players here from tdM, and actually need to be careful. The Falcon Punch coming in. Ophelia's in a lot of trouble right here. Plagueler cancels the port. He's going to come back in. That might cost him his life as well. Zion, not sure what he's thinking right there. He is going to fall here as well. Will he go for the Plague? No, he will not. Not going to be worth it. And now the Ophelia minions as well going to be cleaned up. So yeah, Zai, wanted to save his teammate, but ended up costing his own life too.
Yeah, that was an uncharacteristic mistake by Zai, by far. There was no reason to stay there at all. It's just an Ophelia. Sorry, my nuts, but it's just an Ophelia. And that's just what happens when you get caught out like that. You start porting people set up. I mean, that's just what good HoN teams do, is they'll set up. They'll make it seem like they're not defending, and then when you TP back to, or when the other team TPs back to defend their own towers, and you jump them and you catch them off guard, and that's what happened. And it could have just been one hero, but Zai decided to feed himself. So
he's like, here, have another, guys.
Yeah,
I'm just feeling generous. Of course, Trademark Esports, they are the #1 seed and #1 of the standings right now, obviously, as a result of winning 3 of the 4 cycles so far. So again, this is a team with a lot of momentum in that sense, and now with them picking up Fitske, it seems like things came together very nicely in the most recent cycle. So obviously, again, they are the most recent cycle champions too on top of that. So, but the #16 seed, TFR, again, with their whole situation, how they came about, being matched up against them in the very first round, but we got a pretty damn solid game here, I must say. So,
yeah.
And again, I was very intrigued by that. I'm sure a lot of people were. Were we going to see TFR kind of come out and things not really connect? Obviously, with this being a new team and going up against tdM and going to fall apart, or were we going to see them actually match up and individually skilled players come together? And I think it is the latter right now. So that is kind of good to see and more entertaining for the spectators in the end, but. Still plenty of game left with that said. So, and actually, you see a Ward of Rev here placed by Fitske at the Hellborn Ancients, which did just block a stack attempt right there. So that's the route we're going to now, as far as this game goes. Don't want to give them the Ancients.
Yep, that seems to happen a lot at these high-tier games, and I just haven't seen. Honestly, I haven't seen Magnus be that effective. I feel like I'm trying to look at what's going on for tdM. And, I mean, normally a Magnus at this time with the portal key, I just see him being the one that's making all the plays and moving around the map and setting up ganks and setting up kills, and I just haven't seen any of that, honestly, from Limp. So until we see that, who's really going to set that up? Like, no one on their team. He's their initiator. He has the blink. No one else can really do that, unless you get, like, a blink on Plague, but he's nowhere near it. In fact, Plague has a Mighty Blade, so maybe just trying to get as tanky as you can. So until that happens, yeah, you actually have a very, very strong experience lead for TFR and a gold lead about 3,000.
I love that play by Deadwood right there. Speaking of Deadwood, he has his portal key now, and again, with the start that he had, that's very good news more good news, I should say, for TFR. But he actually used the portal key right there. He saw that they were trying to stack the Ancients, and he portal keyed in to block it right at the 24-minute mark. So, again, it's just small things like that can add up. I mean, the fact that Draconis went right there to farm them, that took a good amount of gold from him right there that he definitely could have had. So. Well played by LesQQ, the small things again. But at the same time, Draconis is still farming very well as he does. He is now past the 400 gold per minute mark and has currently 3,000 gold saved up. So obviously Noob G more than likely going for the Shrunken Head here next, as that is just the absolute go-to build for your Dargon here. So
yeah,
another 2,000 gold saved up on Silhouette though. Are we going to see that portal key here on Shams? Does he agree with you, Trelf?
Oh, I hope so. The best build.
Absolutely the best.
It's very, very strong. I was going to mention something. Oh, yeah, actually, Deadwood had his portal key actually for quite some time because he used it to gank Ophelia up top.
That's right, yeah. Okay.
But and he does go the Ghost Sparkers, actually. I like Steam Boots personally on Deadwood, but either are fine, honestly. That's just something. Yeah, and he does go portal key, so he is agreeing that is the best build.
Good.
And they already countered that ward, actually, at the Ancients that were blocked there by tdM. So Kabop right on the mark. And I mean, this is a player that, honestly, we haven't seen at all for like a year, or if even longer. And, props to him for his success in Dota 2, but he's back here playing this for now. and is already doing a fantastic job. So big props to Kebab.
Yeah, I know.
Good friend of mine.
Any old school HoN cast followers, for that matter, just HoN followers of the competitive scene, know that Kebab, definitely had his place in the HoN competitive scene for when he was here. And I know in my mind, his behemoth was a lot of fun to watch. He played a very good behemoth.
Yeah.
But he plays more of that initiator support role. And again, it is intriguing. Obviously, going from a game like Dota back to HoN, how he's not playing a Dota port hero, an engineer. Engineer by no means is a port. I mean, this is a completely S2 HoN hero
Techies?
here. So, yeah, okay, it is to know.
Okay.
Absolutely not. But yeah, again, as you're just pointing out, though, the fact that we haven't seen him at least. Again, I don't know if he's been playing on Smurfs or whatnot. But,
No, he hasn't.
you don't think? Okay,
No.
so you know him fairly well.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, it makes it that much more impressive. Like if he was playing something like Glacius, and it'd be like, okay, he's playing that in Dota as well, but no engineer in Dota. So
Well, even then, I still think that it's difficult from time to time to transition. Yeah, we see some interesting plays down here in the jungle. They're kind of playing back and forth with each other, but even then, if you're playing ports, it's like you have to get used to the game. You have to shake off the rust, but really, looks like there's just no rust here. So, again, I'm just impressed by Kebab this game so far.
And the team, again,
Yeah.
the fact that TFR is in the lead, I think you can safely say a little bit surprising here. But Draconis, when it's all said and done, he is still the best farmer in the game, and you keep looking back at that, you can have the biggest team stats leads, but when Draconis uses his items, presses that R button, all hell breaks loose. Bottom lane will be pushed in there, so that's another secondary tower down. That's, I believe, 5 tower kills in total, actually, coming out here for the Fire Rises, compared to Trademark Esports getting the 3 themselves. So, Plaguewater has 3,000 saved up, by the way.
Yeah, wow.
Jeez.
Interesting.
With a mighty blade.
Shrunken head? I don't know. That's so curious. I don't know. Zide sometimes does weird. Okay, he does have a Storm Spirit. Makes sense. That's an item where it's like you don't really need the components. It just kind of clutters your inventory a bit. So, yeah, that's fine.
But why the mighty blade then first?
Just, I guess, maybe wanted him to be tanky. Maybe he had thoughts of going for first time Shrunken, and then things changed. I don't know.
But we've talked about that before, too. I mean, the fact that Shrunken Head on a hero like Plaguewater is just kind of odd, too.
Well, it's actually not that bad because against Engineer and Bubbles specifically,
Okay.
Bubbles being able to silence you, you get locked down. You can't cast your ultimate, like, you're screwed. And as a Plaguewater player, he should know that he's most likely going to be the target first in these fights. So if he can get out of that silence or that energy, the Engineer ult. It's so hard to say. I always want to say Energizer because I'm so obsessed with that item. But
yeah,
the Engineer ult. If he can get out of that and walk through it, then and get that ultimate off, and then he's done his job. So yeah, I see what you're saying, and I totally agree with that. But I'm trying to guess what he's doing here.
Of course, get the logic there. And again, but he went the Storm Spirit first, so we'll see if eventually goes the Shrunken Head. But tdM, apparently they feel like it's time. They got the Shrunken and Nullstone here on Draconis. They got the Storm Spirit obviously on Plaguewater. You got a Soul's Bulwark now even on Ophelia, so that's some more good news there. Now Draconis isn't level 16 just yet, and that is a big deal. I mean, the Cataclysmic Assault gets that much more powerful with level 16, of course. So maybe they at least want to wait for that before they really make a push here. But in fact, they are going to kind of spread out now. He goes to the jungle. But so does Bubbles with the Haste Rune. And actually, if Draconis gets spotted here, he currently is by himself. For the time, but I don't believe that they are going to spot him, actually. So Bubbles will just farm the top lane, and more farm we go. Speaking of Bubbles, does have an Arcana picked up, obviously working towards his Hellflower. He's the 2 more. Silhouette, another 1,500 gold here. I don't know if he bought something, actually, since the Porta Key. It feels like he might have, but he is still farming, fairly well. 385 gold per minute. There's actually Soul's Bulwark now on the Hellborn team, too, as Deadwood picks up 1. So items and more items being picked up. Oh, the Shrunken Head on Tempest. Yeah, that's obviously another very big pickup. So,
yeah, it could still be canceled though, unfortunately, by Zai's ultimate on Plaguewater and Skeleton Kings from My Nuts, which he does have 2 of them. So, oh god,
middle lane. They do have a Ward of Sight right here though, so they'll spot out these 3 heroes trying to set something up. And you see Fitzca's Ward of Sight also in the lane. He had one earlier here in the same area. Very aggressive lane wards coming out from Fitzca actually, back-to-back ones. So. Not able to set up kills, though, and as right as I say that, though, they place one very aggressively up here at the top lane, just behind that secondary tower. So getting plenty of vision. Both teams have some decent vision, though, on the map right now. There's always Congo or 2, but neither team attempting Congo. The Hellflower actually has been finished, wow, on Bubbles. I saw the 1 Arcana, but he got the 2 others, and he is good to go. So Hellflower Porta Key on Bubbles now, even more important.
Yeah, this has been a very, very passive game, so... teams are just waiting and try to get their core items up, I guess, and don't really want to take any risks right now, so we really haven't seen much happen here in the last 10 minutes, to be honest. 11-6 hero kill lead in favor of TFR, 30 minutes in. And more passive play to start. Might see actually an aggressive push here in mid from TFR. They do have some big items, like you mentioned. The Hellflowers just picked up on Bubbles, Shrunken Head, onto Tempest, Bulwark on Deadwood, all that jazz.
You see a Silhouette actually splitting up right there right as a power throw hits, or his illusion takes some damage, but there was also spotted doing that. So obviously they are aware that he does have that ready to go, as you'd expect though. Middle tower is being pushed, however. You see a good spread going on. Ophelia charging him for the top side, but no, Silhouette is going to pour it out the second she feels some pressure there, and TFR will fall back. So again, a little bit of a chance at action there, but no, neither team, or in this case TFR, they just don't want to get involved yet. And they do fall back, trying to maybe hit level 16 on Bubbles as well. Tablet of Command now picked up on Magnus, by the way, so he's got a Portal Key tablet combination here to work with now. And that could be powerful. Top lane, Silhouette might want to be careful. You do see Ophelia charging up there, as well as others here on the Legion side. And she doesn't have her illusion up either, so. But of course, she does have that Portal Key. In fact, looks like she might start falling back here, so. Well, teams again playing the farming game. There's the first Slayer, or I'm not going to say first, but the Slayer picked up by Draconis, the first of many Slayers.
Yeah.
The Slayer picked up by Draconis, of course, Savage Mace going to be in for him. Still curious what Silhouette's going to go for. You know, you talk about Shield Breaker from time.
Yeah.
Could be a Shrunken Head still, I guess. I mean, if he feels that necessary, so we'll see what Shams does.
I mean, Shrunken would actually mitigate almost all the damage coming out right now. Obviously, you know, the Dargon or Dragon is starting to get that physical DPS up, but still it's primarily coming out from Magnus and Zai on Plague this time. So, I mean, I'm always a fan of the Shield Breaker, though. I think it just does a lot of damage and synergizes really, really well with Silhouette.
Ooh. So this ward will be countered here, but they do realize that they were spot attempting Kongor initially. Now, whether or not they're still doing it, well, tdM is in the blind. Now, they do have a Luna, which we'll probably see a power throw come out here any second would be my guess. In fact, there you go.
They need to back up.
So yeah, you see Silhouette taking some chain stuns there, and yeah, she'll just tree grapple to safety because she was dropping pretty low herself. So
yeah, and I talked about this yesterday too. But when you're attempting Kongor, like, you need to know that you can do it, because even that little bit of time, they wasted actually about 1,500 gold and 2,000 experience to do that. Just even in that little amount of time it took to just, you know, group up everywhere, you know, everyone to group up at Kongor, because no one is obviously farming, whereas tdM, everyone is farming. And, you know, it's very, very easy to spot it out. They already knew it because they counted the ward. So I would suggest to teams when they decided that they want to do Kongor, like, you should know, you should already have wards countered. You should already have lanes pushed up. You should already know that you have the damage output to take Kongor in a relatively fast time.
Well, adding insult to injury, their double stack Ancients also just got stolen right there. So even more of a gold thing. But here we go. The initiation onto Ophelia. Actually, there goes Bobbles. The Kelphic going down. He got stunned immediately, though, as soon as he came in. The Tempest ultimate in the background. Ophelia's going to be locked in. The Plague is bouncing around. The Tempest ultimate finally going to be canceled right there. But now Silhouette joining the party. Luna will fall. Draconis is actually just getting the hell on out of there with the Blazing Flight. You do see Magnus trying to survive himself. No buybacks happening, I don't believe.
Oh.
But now Magnus gets caught right there. The Rotten Crest and the Hellflowers applied, and Magnus falls as well. TFR, a 4-for-0 exchange right there, and they are now going to push this middle lane. Draconis didn't use anything there. I guess he just wasn't ready to fight.
Well, Ophelia got, you know, caught out. It's as simple as that. Minus got caught out in mid, and it took him too long, honestly, to cancel the Tempest ultimate with the Skeleton Kings. It was eventually canceled, but the damage was already done. It already got about, you know, 2.5, maybe 3 seconds off. And then the energy field from Engineer Ultimate did a lot of work as well. Like, I just love that hero. He's now level 11. It will be level 2 ult. And they just have good team fight. And, yeah, I mean, it started out, of course, with Ophelia getting picked off, and you can't blame Dargon for that.
Well, now Magnus did buy back there at the last second. And you got to question that a little bit, because, again, that's just kind of a wasted buyback in a sense. Unless they maybe ninja something right here. He's going to go for it. But no, Shams picks it up, and Limp's like, well, this was a horrible plan. Limp will most likely die right here. In fact, there you go. You do see Draconis thinking about going back in, but it just wasn't going to be worth it. So
that was silly.
Even I mean, the fact that he bought back, questionable, but even doing that, it's like, okay.
That was silly. Like, it's 35 minutes in. Yeah, Silhouette with a token is annoying, but you have a Dragon who's getting very, very close to that Savage Mace. You can easily defend these pushes. The only time you want to, like, suicide for a token like that is if you know you're in a humongous deficit. You don't have the harder carry, or at least a carry that can be comparable, you know. Whereas like it's like they have Dark Lady, your hardest carry is like Torturer, and Dark Lady has 500 GPM. He picks up the token, and it's like, okay, well we're never going to defend because we can't kill Dark Lady twice.
Yeah.
But that's not the situation here. You have a dragon, so there's no reason to suicide for the chance to get a token, which he didn't get.
Well, you know, I'm putting an interesting stat here. Looking at the hero damage. I mean, look at Draconis. I mean, he's only 6% overall hero damage. It's very, very low.
There hasn't been like a real team fight though.
Yeah.
Like everyone's been scattered or picked off right away, and that's just a testament to the good hero set TFR has, specifically with Deadwood and Bubbles.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I mean, but it also, again, it just kind of goes to show you where TDM's at right now. The fact that Draconis really hasn't been the impact in terms of fights, at least. I mean, he's farming great. He's continuing to farm great. That's what Draconis does, as we always mention. But if he's not getting that hero damage in, then what good is that farm? So Silhouette, obviously, the Savage Mace finished on her even before Draconis. So her GPM is actually once again climbing back up and catching up to Draconis. Again, great news on top of the Token of Life. We'll see now what TFR does here with the token. They still got a good 5+ minutes left on it, so don't expect them to necessarily rush anything right here. Another 2,600 gold saved up on Deadwood, actually, as he purchased a Warhammer there, so I would assume maybe a Shrunken Head, actually, coming out for him.
Yeah, I think so. Shrunken Head will be just fine, and it looks like TDM, they might get, honestly, a little bit into that desperation mode. Savage Mace, I think, is delivered. Yeah, it is for Draconis, but even if you're down and you're desperate, there's no reason to push against the token at all. Especially when Tempest Ultimate is up. So this is not a smart decision by them at all. They might be able to get a free tower in mid in the tier 2. Ophelia might be in a lot of trouble here.
Here we go, the jump, and the Star Spirit at the last second. Silhouette did pour it out. That's not the real one. Deadwood now in no man's land, though. A Cataclysmic Assault activated in the background, and they will kill Deadwood. So they do get the one player. Good bait coming out right there from Trademark Esports, and now they're going to maybe make a push right here. Deadwood cannot buy back, doesn't have the money for it, so this should be a free tower kill. So it does work out for TDM as far as a little bit of a push here. Will they continue to go is the question, with Deadwood still being dead for another 45 seconds. We'll see. It doesn't look like if anything, they're going to go bottom to clean up the secondary tower down there, but works out for TDM.
Yeah, that was a really good play by Zai, specifically with the Storm Spirit. It was like perfect timing from him. And at the same time, though, I really feel like that the initiation shouldn't have happened from LesQQ. Yeah, you got the Rotten Grasp off, but your team really wasn't all there. Like, they weren't all ready to pounce on him or just initiating a full, blown-out team fight. So I would have just hit the grasp, walked away, keep defending that way, just keep throwing out those grasps until you have the entire team around you ready to go.
It's so enticing now.
It is.
So enticing.
It is.
Minus
is enticing.
You're just trying hard there, aren't you?
Yeah.
We're just no, but the fact that as you were saying that maybe Tempest or Engineer weren't really there to support. Good value for that. Engineer is actually getting close to finishing a tablet here, by the way, so he's actually had some decent farm despite playing that ward bitch support role. Silhouette leading the way here at this top lane. Of course, she does have her illusion up going the other way. Or does she? No, she didn't actually. Wow, I thought that was her illusion, but no, she didn't. It was actually just coming off cooldown here. But she falls back anyways and going to be fine. So she does have another 1,600 gold saved out. Going to take the Legion Ancients right there quickly. I believe I just saw a Storm Spirit purchased, by the way, on Bubbles here for the Hellborn team. So another item, good item here for TFR. The Fire Rises, as yes, it's delivered to Bubbles. And again, as I mentioned, Engineer with his. Whoa! Insania has 5,100 gold, by the way.
Yeah.
Holy crap. What is he possible? I mean,
well,
just straight up refresher.
He's actually had his Shrunken Head for a long time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think just the refresher is the obvious choice. And Insania loves to get that refresher. He's probably going to get it. I think it's, what, 5,400? Oh, no, it's less than that, actually.
Less than that. You were wrong, Trouf.
It's once in a blue moon.
Once
in a blue moon.
So yeah, Restoration Stone. Serious note, that is a big deal. The fact, I mean, hell, it explains itself. The double Tempest Ultimate, absolutely a big deal. Magnus Invis looks like the Hellborn team wants to initiate though. They're going to go on and feel it right there. The Hellfire apply, but no, not going to be the best follow up. Unfortunately, Deadwood are running into Draconis. Actually, Draconis activating the Shrunken Head though, and the Cataclysmic Assault, but really not going to get much out of this. So neither team really have the greatest of initiations right there. But now the Hellborn team is going to keep pushing. They know Draconis is vulnerable here.
Yeah, well, that was a better retreat by TFR. He popped the Shrunken Head, and that should be. It shouldn't be like he popped the Shrunken Head, go on this guy, or go. It should just be back. Let him waste it. Let him waste it. Fall back and look to fight another time.
Yep. That's exactly what they're doing here. They're going to now push into the base. The Savage Mace again on Silhouette. The fact that they have a minute 20 on the Token of Life. This is definitely pretty damn good timing coming out from TFR. Now Silhouette, she is taking quite a bit of damage there. Dropping about half life. But again, with that token, perhaps wanting to, not really that worried about taking the damage. Obviously, Insania off to the side. Again, he is ready with that double Tempest Ultimate. I don't know if that's been spotted, by the way. I mean, I don't know if he was really like there in that fight for them to
I don't know either.
it, but that's that. I mean, that could be a huge deal, of course, if they don't realize that. So now there is 2 Skeleton Kings, so even with a double Tempest Ultimate, technically, and even on top of that, as you mentioned earlier, I mean, the Plague Ooze. So,
right.
There are ways, even with the double, that you can't stop it. But again, going to play the passive, back and forth. Game right here between Trademark Esports and TFR. Shout out to Milkbait right there. Cataclysmic Assault. The Magma's missing the stun, actually. Cataclysmic Assault was used. Again, it's a fairly short cooldown, though.
Yeah.
But TFR is going to retreat here.
Yeah, not the biggest deal. I mean, it's a missed stun, but I think that was just more of a chip damage kind of stun. I feel like TFR actually could have maybe been a little bit more aggressive there, honestly. There was like 4 times where I saw Shams and not to pick on him, but there was 4 times I saw him where you use the tree grapple once, your Relentless Salvo gets a proc. You can use it a second time to bring it back to you, and it procs again, so you have increased attack speed, and that would be like another, I don't know, 8 auto attacks that you could have pummeled in onto that defense tower, that tier 1 or that tier 3 tower. So might seem like a small thing, but I saw him do it a number of times, and that could have been a dead tower. It could have been the difference of a dead for a dead tower.
Yeah, that's very, very good points to bring up for seeing that. So 3,600 more gold saved up on Silhouette, by the way, so she is pulling up quite a bit more. Again, doesn't have the Token of Life anymore, obviously, as it wore off there, but is going to be good to go as far as her next item build, or perhaps as just saving it for the buyback at this point, too, is legitimate, of course. So by now, you got to figure the double Tempest Ultimate threat has probably been spotted, so I'm sure tdM is probably aware of that. But again, they do have answers to it. So back to passivity we go, and perhaps another Congory attempt going to be in the works here between these 2 teams, as he should be spawning in the next couple of minutes here. But will they even wait for that as the Legion team there? They might just try to make a push themselves right here, as again, you can only wait so long, I guess. I mean, we talked about that earlier. Who really has the advantage here as far as late game, and you were even leaning a little bit towards TFR, so especially with the lead that they have, at 15,000 experience and 10,000 gold lead, it's even more of a reason. So things adding up together nicely for TFR. tdM definitely needing to make something happen here, it looks like.
Yeah, they definitely do. But, like you mentioned, the Draconis with a Cataclysmic Assault and the Savage Mace, it just does so much damage. And it's a very, very easy hero, honestly, to play in that sense, where you just start right-clicking. Or you don't even have to right-click, you just A-click and anything in the area, and it will do the work for you. It will only propagate to heroes, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And it increases your attack speed by a lot.
See, that's the most ridiculous thing to me, is the fact that he could be facing one way,
and
the fireballs are flying like behind him, basically.
It's pretty silly.
It's like, wait, what? Oh, really? Okay, that's maybe a little overkill.
Here comes Deadwood with the setup. Oh, he's a little bit too far up. And tdM is all behind him.
Oh, they're trying to counter war. Magnus going to try to make the pay, though. Engineer will be initiated on. He can definitely energy field, however. The jump in the background. Devil goes on to Magnus right there. Magnus may fall. The energy field goes up. He's going to be Storage Spirit as Aluna's on the, or Ophelia's on the run. Everyone on the run here for the Legion team, but now the Bound Eye on the ground. Draconis being Hellfighter right there. Cataclysmic Assault is activated. Shelter tricking in. There's a first Tempest Ultimate. There's a second Tempest Ultimate as soon as it was canceled, but no follow-up for him, unfortunately. And Insania will port a key away. Meanwhile, down here, Silhouette was chasing down Ophelia, and he does get the kill right there, but perhaps missing out on a chance to maybe kill Draconis. We'll see. It's not over just yet. Finally, Kelphiel being used. Actually, wasn't used to all of that by Skyzer right there. Plague Rider is going to get caught, and Plague Rider will fall. So, not the prettiest of plays coming out, from what I can tell at least, but still, TFR, they do come out on top, and that's what matters.
Yeah, that was one of the more sloppy fights I've ever seen, honestly, ever. To the Engineer Ultimate, honestly, it didn't really do that much. It only caught, I believe Magnus in there, who was going to die regardless. Just needed like a couple more auto attacks onto him.
Yeah.
Now that's not a big deal. Sometimes the Engineer Ultimate is there to say we want to secure the kill, and we want to make sure that if they don't jump in and counter us, because obviously if they jump into the ultimate, they get silenced immediately. And in that sense, it's still a fantastic ult. But again, that was still just a very, very sloppy fight. As you mentioned, the Kelphiel was used very, very late. I wasn't watching the Tempest when he used it because it looked like he was all by himself. It looked like the entire team was scattered.
Yeah.
So,
well,
very awkward.
It was. Again, I got the idea from Sandy right there. He knew that Plague Rider was going to be able to cancel pretty much, but he basically banked on that. He would just rest of stun and then use it again, which he did. He did it right away. He caught Draconis there. He locked him down for the whatever it is, the 4 seconds or the 4 seconds there. But unfortunately, Silhouette again. She was busy with her own 5. Bubbles was doing his own thing. It's just everyone was all over the place there. And that fight for both teams, though. But like I said, what matters is that TFR comes out on top, at least for their sake, and actually double damage Runo on Silhouette, and they are attempting Conqueror. There's no vision here right now by tdM. Now, they probably have an idea. Shrunken Head was used right there by Devo, by the way. I guess he got jumped out. In fact, he's going to go back in the Falcon Punch on Draconis now. Shrunken Head activated by Draconis, though, using that kick as well. But here we go. Silhouette jumping in. Magma's going to just melt right there. The double damage is still up on a Silhouette. You got to realize that Kelpfield does catch all 4, actually.
That's a defensive Kelpfield.
Okay. I was going to say, yeah, with no follow-up.
Yeah.
Not going to really happen. So.
Two big spells were used defensively when you could look at it and be like, oh my god, that was wasted. Didn't hit everybody, but the Engineer ult and the Kelpfield right there. So they got the pick off. There was a really, really good tree grapple stun there by Silhouette specifically. It was perfectly set up onto Magmus. Had it not hit, they very well could not have gotten the kill onto him. So good job by Shams right there. And then, yeah, preventative measures with the Kelpfield and the Engineer ult. I swear to God, one of these friggin' days, I'm going to say it correctly.
Actually get it correct now. Speaking of Silhouette, by the way, Shams here, he does get a Whispering Helm, another 4,400 gold saved up. So
yeah,
he probably just wants to make sure to get a token of life here. Then he'll probably finish the Symbol of Rage would be my guess. Speaking of Symbol of Rage, right-clicked over here by Draconis. So Draconis still continuing to be the best farmer in the game, despite his team ultimately not having the better time. He is continuing to be the best farm in the game, but we are going to see a Conqueror kill here. tdM just really cannot do much against it, especially with their situation right now. So Silhouette, again, she'll most likely pick it up. She'll probably purchase that Symbol of Rage, and I wouldn't be surprised if they make a push here to try to even end this game now. In fact, there you go. There's a right click. So the fire rises. They're in definitely a great spot to win this game here in game number 1 against Trademark Esports.
They're looking really, really good. That's for sure. The stats don't lie. 22,000 experience is huge.
Yeah.
14K gold, pretty big as well. So they're looking in the driver's seat right now to finish this game. No rags have been killed just yet by either team, but you can safely assume once that token of life gets down to 3 minutes and under that we could see some pushing coming out from TFR finally. Yeah,
at the same time, though, Trademark Esports, despite them being in a deficit here, they do have a great team fight team. Draconis, Magmus, Plague Rider, Ophelia, really. You add those 4 heroes together, and then Luna, doing her thing with some big red stuns. It could definitely work out pretty nicely here for the Legion team. So, yeah, the last thing you want to do is get 2 overzealous here for TFR. So
this is true. I still have to say, I still have to go back to, I have not seen, Limp be a playmaker this game at all.
Yeah.
He was the farming Magnus mid. Oh, we might see something here. Oh, nope, Sky's over. Realized it. Use the cover and it blinks away. But he was the farmer in mid. He had a pretty good time. They had the gank early on to start. The Bloodlust was on to Engineer actually from Ophelia. And I don't know if it went to Limp or not, but regardless, he was part of that. And he had a good time farming in mid. And I just haven't seen him been making the plays that I think a Magnus should with having the prioritized farm.
Yeah, I mean 2, 7, and 6. It's not that great of a hero kill score. In fact, Silhouette going to jump in right here. She's going to port back though, of course, with the illusion. So just playing a little bit ballsy. There is a double damage rune, obviously, on Draconis. That's a big deal. In fact, here we go. The Tempest ultimate going to be used right there, not being locked down. There's a Storm Spirit on Draconis, but Draconis already at half-life, and Draconis has got to fall before he can get the Symbol of Rage out. Big start for the Hellborn team, and tdM knows it. Iluna's on the run, as well as everyone else. Draconis cannot buy back, even if you want to do. Plague is going to start bouncing around. Actually, a pretty damn good one at that. There's a second Tempest ultimate, though, so Engineer falls, but it's not going to matter. Ophelia goes down. There's the vote to concede, and I believe the Fire Rises is going to take game number 1 here against Trademark Esports, it looks like. And there you go. It's official.
Wow.
Wow. Cannot say I saw that coming. Again, I don't know if many people saw that coming, but TFR, this is, again, this skilled individuals coming together here and defeating, well, the #1 team in the world right now in Heroes and Newers. So
upset.
Yeah.
Can you say it? Yeah, pretty fun game to watch. Unfortunately, we got to end that just a little bit late, but it was still a hell of a match.
Yeah.
And we got to see some great play overall. I mean, just look at the stats that are coming out for TFR. Very, very little deaths in general on their team, where you actually have a lot of deaths for tdM. So Just well played overall, and it was a lot of fun to watch. I'm very excited to see what Game 2 holds for both these teams.
Yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, Shams 7-0-10. So again, you're right. You've got great reasons for bringing up those points. I mean, the creep farm just really wasn't that high initially, and some mistakes with the tree grapples and whatnot. But hey, he finished off 7-0-10, top farm in the game. Really, I mean, he finished off very well. Skyzo 6-0-10 himself. I mean, all across. Look at that, actually. Les QQ. That's the most impressive stat to me. 0-3-18.
Yeah,
18 assists with 0 kills as Deadwood. That's pretty hilarious. Anyways, TFR wins. That's good for them. They are now up 1-0 here against Trademark Esports. So again, a big start for them indeed. As obviously, again, tdM #1 team in the world right now. So that's got to be feeling good. But it is a best out of 3. Something tells me tdM ain't going to let them win 2-0 here. So we'll see. We'll see, though. Anyways, stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. We are, as always, going to take a quick break here. And we'll be coming back at you. Trademark Esports versus The Fire Rises. Game number 2 coming up next.